Module Overview. Innovation is a powerful driver of growth and sustainability in the agribusiness sector. From the development of improved crop varieties and animal breeds to the invention of new agricultural machinery and processing technologies, innovation helps increase productivity, reduce environmental impact, and meet global food demands. However, innovation must be protected through legal mechanisms to prevent unauthorized use, encourage investment in research, and stimulate knowledge sharing. These legal mechanisms are broadly categorized under intellectual property rights (IPR). This module provides a deep and critical examination of intellectual property (IP) laws as they relate to agricultural inventions, technologies, and creative works. It focuses on the types of IP rights applicable in agribusiness, such as patents, trademarks, plant breeders' rights, trade secrets, and copyrights. The module also unpacks national legal frameworks, international IP treaties, procedures for protection and enforcement, and the complex ethical debates surrounding biopiracy, traditional knowledge, and genetically modified organisms (GMOs). Furthermore, the module explores how agribusinesses, research institutions, and individual innovators can leverage IP rights to secure market advantage, license innovations, and participate in global value chains. The course draws examples from seed companies, biotechnology firms, food processing companies, and agrochemical manufacturers to demonstrate the real-world applications of IPR in agribusiness. Learning objectives. By the end of this module, you will be able to define and categorize various types of intellectual property (IP) relevant to agribusiness. Understand the legal processes for securing IP protection nationally and internationally. Analyze the strategic role of IP in agribusiness innovation and commercialization. Examine plant variety protection laws and the rights of plant breeders. Assess IP licensing, infringement, and enforcement mechanisms. Identify ethical, legal, and policy issues surrounding biotechnology, GMOs, and traditional knowledge. Interpret relevant national laws and international treaties such as TRIPS and UPOV. Introduction to Intellectual Property in Agribusiness. Definition of intellectual property (IP), importance of IP in protecting innovation and creativity in agriculture. Economic rationale, innovation incentives, investment protection, and knowledge diffusion. Overview of IP types relevant to agribusiness. Permanent workers, full-time employees with benefits and job security. Seasonal workers, hired for planting/harvest seasons, limited job stability. Casual workers, irregular, task-based laborers with fewer legal protections. Migrant workers, workers crossing internal or international borders, often vulnerable to exploitation. Contract laborers, hired through intermediaries, regulated under labor contractor laws. Employment contracts and legal documentation. Importance of written contracts to define employment terms, duration, wages, roles, rights, fixed term versus indefinite contracts, legal provisions on contract termination, severance, and renewal, statutory requirements for maintaining employment records, minimum wage, work hours, and leave entitlements, national minimum wage laws and agricultural sector wage boards, standard workday and overtime compensation laws, legal entitlements to rest periods, maternity, paternity leave, sick leave, and public holidays, deductions, bonuses, and payment timelines. Occupational health and safety, OHS, in agribusiness. Hazards in agricultural work, machinery, chemicals, sun exposure, animal contact, and fatigue. OHS legal frameworks, protective gear, hazard reporting, emergency procedures. Employer duties, safety training, insurance coverage, compliance inspections, worker rights, refusal to work in unsafe conditions, reporting abuse or risks, prohibition of child labor and forced labor. Legal minimum working age in agriculture, exceptions for family farms, distinction between child labor and acceptable youth work, forced labor indicators, debt bondage, withheld wages, document confiscation, international conventions, ILO conventions number 138, minimum age, and 182, worst forms of child labor, anti-discrimination and gender equity in agricultural employment, legal protections against discrimination on the basis of sex, race, religion, or disability, gender-specific rights, equal pay for equal work, maternity protections, sexual harassment laws, challenges faced by women agricultural workers, and legal remedies. Labor unions, collective bargaining, and worker associations. Legal rights to organize, unionize, and bargain collectively. Role of cooperatives and rural workers associations, strike laws and dispute resolution procedures, employer obligations during industrial actions. Grievance mechanisms and labor dispute resolution. Internal grievance redress procedures, role of labor courts, tribunals, and ombudsmen, arbitration, conciliation, and mediation processes, penalties for employer noncompliance, fines, jail terms, blacklisting, revocation of licenses, international labor standards, and ethical supply chains. ILO core labor standards, freedom of association, elimination of forced and child labor, non discrimination, voluntary compliance through certifications, fair trade, Rainforest Alliance, Ethical Trading Initiative ETI, corporate social responsibility, CSR audits, and supply chain due diligence. Legal requirements for labor transparency in supply contracts, e.g., EU Supply Chain Law, UK Modern Slavery Act. Key takeaways. Labor laws protect the dignity, health, and rights of workers in the agribusiness sector. Employers must adhere to legal standards regarding wages, safety, equality, and employment terms. Informal labor is common in agriculture but increasingly subject to legal reform. Compliance with international labor standards enhances agribusiness reputation and market access. Effective grievance mechanisms and transparent employment practices reduce risk and boost productivity.